Welcome to In the Room, where culture meets Hollywood, and we talk about the conversations the industry is having behind closed doors out loud. I'm Elisa Murray.
I'm Ali Leroy.
Why was there some hesitation? You forgot your name.
Yeah, I just, every now and again, I was like, do I want to tell him?
Do you want to
Yes,
tell them
I'm
who you
Ali
are?
Leroy. And I'm not hesitating. I'm just, yeah,
Okay.
I'm good
Yes,
with
and
being me. I
so
like me.
we like you too. So I know you
Thank
have
you.
a birthday at some point this month. You have any
Yeah, yeah,
First of all, how
yeah.
old
It
are
was.
you going to be? How old are you actually?
Um, you really want to know?
No, I'm
No,
curious
you
because you
you want
always
me
talk
to
about
lie to you?
I'm old. No, I want because if you
um,
say you old, how old are you?
I'm 64.
Are you? I don't know. I thought you were older
Yeah,
than
yeah.
that. That's not
See?
that old. That's not that old. I don't know why I
Yeah,
thought
I'm
67.
64. Yeah, no,
That's
no, no.
not
My
that
my my
bad.
birthday, my birthday. I made 64.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not
Will you
no
still love me?
AARP yet, no senior citizen
But
discounts
they
yet. You're
send me
still
all the cards and stuff, but
they're
I
prepping
refuse to
you.
use them.
Okay.
They're like they sent me a bag. They're like, hey, here's some bag to carry your old people stuff around in. I'm like, I don't want that bag. I went out and got me a Coach Basquiat fanny pack. I'll show you.
Yeah, you're not ready for it. Listen, I mean, embrace it. Embrace
I am not
the
ready.
seasoning. The seasoning. They're not old. They're seasoned. That's what we call our
All right,
elders.
so yes, I will accept that. And so I kid about being old, uh, but it's just so I have some self awareness, right?
Mm.
Am I have a youthful spirit, right?
Yeah, I would say
And
that. I
and
would
I
say
and I'm
that.
a I'm, and I'm a curious person, and I like a certain type of youthful exuberance, excitement, and energy. And also, I get sleepy at 7:30.
I'm not ready to be that old.
I
I'm not ready
no,
to be
listen.
there.
No, it's not. It's not like whatever you think it is. It's not that. It's just everything that you can do that you've been doing is just sometimes it takes a little longer, or
To
sometimes it's
get
not
there.
quite as easy, or sometimes you forget that you wanted to do that. Yeah, and sometimes right in the middle of whatever you were doing.
So, are you going to be doing anything exciting for the birthday? Do you even celebrate?
Uh,
Like some people are like
no,
weird
I
about
have.
that.
I have in the past. I've had some parties in the past, and I've tried to do things. This year was not a, this was like a chill and take it easy. I'm deep in this work
Mm.
right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Too
We're
focused to
we're pulling
celebrate.
this podcast together. I got two or three different projects that
Pulling
I'm
this
trying to
together.
get up on their feet.
Yeah.
A little teaser. I'm preparing a photo exhibition that's going to come around in a month or so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah,
theme? Is there like a theme or like a
yes, it's
vibe?
going to be it's going to be the the work that I shot while I was on the set of Everybody Hates Chris, and this stuff is 15 years old or something like that. But there's a theme around family, and
Mm.
uh, and viewing this television family, through the lens of my actual family. And it's art.
Yeah, that sounds dope. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a show that we all love to watch and have great fond memories of. And so seeing a little
yeah. So I'm doing
BTS
that.
and
I
hmm
got a piece of music I'm working on with
okay.
my son. So yeah, I'm doing some other things. So for my birthday this year, it's just like I'm healthy. I got some people in my life who I love, who love me.
Mm.
My circle has gotten tighter, uh, but
Mm.
it is who's in that circle, and how I engage with them is better.
Yeah.
you know
I feel like the older you
so
get, the
yeah.
tighter your circle should get.
Yeah, it literally does become quality over quantity. I'm
That
very
part.
much now in a space of wanting to feel good and feel right
Mm.
about the things that I'm doing, and the people who I give my time to, and the people who I share my time with, and what they kind of bring to me. So yeah, it's I'm trying to live well is what I'm telling you.
Okay, it sounds like you've had quite a year celebrating all the accomplishments. It's a lot of stuff that goes on this month. I mean, Valentine's Day is going to be this month too. As a man though, this is a question I just had. Sidebar. We'll
Mhm.
we'll dive into the podcast in a second. What do you get a man for Valentine's Day? This will be the first Valentine's Day in a very long time that I actually have a man. And I'm like, I don't know. What do y'all want? Like y'all don't want flowers. Like I don't know what to do. You as a man,
he
what would you
wants
want?
he wants to relax.
He wants
And what I
peace.
mean is this. uh I think that what can you get a man for Valentine's Day? You can get him a release this pressure valve.
Uh, peace and quiet, peace of mind.
Well, I just it doesn't have to be peace and quiet. It just doesn't have to be pressure and antagonism.
Mm.
Right? Basketball games allowed. Right? So I'm just like you just got to understand that as a man, you know, knowing that the woman that I'm with is happy, that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, is satisfied with whatever it is I'm doing. So she could be unhappy. That's fine as long as it's not my fault. I will be mad with her at other people.
Yeah.
That's great.
Happy wife, happy life.
And like seriously, anything nicer, man. Like a steak, just go, get a steak dinner. Go take him someplace and get a burger that he likes. Just let him just fucking be okay for a day, not having to, work hard and prove something to somebody else. Yeah, I think so. That's all. Sometimes we just want a break.
So y'all don't
You can
want
show your
gifts.
love by giving your man a break.
Okay, y'all heard it here. So y'all don't want gifts. Y'all don't want flowers. Y'all want a break.
Don't I need? We don't need. What are we gonna do with some flowers, man?
I'm at a loss. I'll hopefully figure something out. Yeah, whatever. But I wanted to start off light because there's a lot going on, and this week we're covering something everyone with a phone camera should know. You know that we had that recent public incident with Don Lemon getting arrested, and he's out now. But it brought up a question that I think a lot of creators might not realize it affects them. Because I make content, I use a camera all the time, and I didn't even know it could apply to me. Over the last month or so, there's been ongoing situations with anti-ICE protests and violent incidents coming from that, and it's tragically cost lives and triggered national debate. And a lot of times, these people are either recording or something like that. And with journalist Don Lemon, who was also covering these protests, he was arrested by federal agents
Right.
for just being present while reporting. Him and three others were detained, and they're pursuing charges tied to the incident. And something that to note, all of the people that were detained with him were black. So that really made me ask questions. Like if I'm filming
Wait,
something
wait, what? Everybody that got arrested was black?
with him, Georgia Ford, Tarheen Jean Cruz, and Jamil Lydell Lundy were all black that were arrested with
All
him.
black.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I, that some people were in an uproar about that. But if I'm filming something in public, am I a journalist or am I just somebody with a camera? And I think depending on that answer, what happened to Don Lemon could affect us more than we think. And so for this, is it just me or segment where we say the thing everyone in Hollywood is thinking, but nobody says out loud? Is it just me, or is the line between being an influencer and a journalist disappearing?
That's an easy answer. No.
Mm,
Now,
explain.
I don't have. I'm not the authority on this, but I do have insights. Um, Journalists are professionals. They study their craft. They ply their craft with their peers.
Mm-hmm.
They move their work and their efforts through institutions and organizations that are accredited. They have rules and policies that they adhere to, right? And they have processes by which they vet their work and bring it to the public. So journalism is a skill, it's a craft, it is a profession. And so while you might call yourself an independent journalist, uh, that is not different than me calling myself, an independent journalist by way of my photography. However, I joined the National Association of Photographers, NPPA. I'm bad with with acronyms,
Acronyms. Yeah.
uh, but it's a organization of photographers who report,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a membership, and they give you a card, and these things,
It's
and
official.
it's not the same when you have certain public events and certain events where there's heightened security or protocols and all these sorts of things, barriers, so they can tell who's
Hmm.
here for business and who's just hanging out. Uh, if you are part of an organization that does not grant you access to events or into spaces where there are increased requirements for credentials. So you might have to get a press pass granted by an organization, or by an
Hmm.
official who has some jurisdiction over an event. But that's for formal things, right?
So for you,
And
it's
at the
not.
bare
There's
minimum,
no line. There's
well, and so
there.
yeah, I mean, but that's for formal things in the sense that if Kamala Harris is giving a speech somewhere, and a bunch of people are going to be there shooting and filming and
Right,
recording,
right.
to get on the other side or get inside a perimeter or something, you either have to be invited or you got to be checked. They got to vet. They got to figure out who you are,
And you feel
and
like
if you
that
want to.
makes you a journalist because you were like invited into that particular, or you have the
Well, no, your
credentials.
criteria, I mean, not your criteria, but your credentials give them something to look to go,
Hmm.
oh, this person works for this organization and they're reporting on the story, with this end in mind. And if you're an independent journalist and you don't have attachment to an organization, you can still present your various credentials. And if you're challenged by authorities, you can say, well, I don't work for NBC, but I am a company. I am a brand. Here's my website. Here's my this. Here's my that. And
Yeah,
so,
but if I'm a person with a phone and I
uh-huh,
see an event taking place that is newsworthy, and I get
mm,
the George Floyd situation on my phone, and now
right.
news people are coming to me with for my video and they're running that video, I am aiding in the journalism as that person with the camera, because that story would not be the same without my content.
Well, you're not a journalist. You're just a witness.
Mhm.
That's all. You're just a witness. You had a camera. You were there. You saw something. You recorded it, and then you handed that information, or you handed that media over to somebody who could do something with it.
Well, so
Right. The
legally, though, under the First Amendment protections, if you are documenting something happening in a public place for the purpose of informing others, you are
mhm,
functioning as a journalist. You don't need a network. You don't need credentials. You don't need a newsroom. You don't need a job
right.
title. So you can be a
Right.
live streamer at a protest and be considered a journalist. You could be a person filming a police encounter, or a YouTube person covering an event. It's still all protected under that First Amendment or act in terms of journalists. But the protection, I think, covers more so whether I'm there to just witness this act or whether I'm performing in this act. If I'm at a protest and I'm there to witness it and report on it, versus I'm actually in the protest inciting everyone to F the police, da da da, and I'm also recording it. Now it's a different thing. And he got arrested because they were saying that he was not just there to report it, he was participating in it as well.
Well, but they said that because they were lying.
Yeah, of course, of
Right, but
course.
so I mean, and this is what I'm saying though. So don't conflate the fact that someone lies about the intentions of a professional journalist versus what might happen to a person who has found themselves or put themselves in a circumstance where they may be doing journalistic work or activity, filming, recording, for the purposes of relating that information to somebody else. All I'm saying is that when the authorities show up and they
Hmm.
start telling you to get back or come over here or give me your phone or whatever those other things are, when they start trying to assert the state's authority over you, that is when having some sort of credential or some sort of recognition by the state, by an
It's
organization,
helpful.
that I am a professional in this space and I'm not just a
Hmm.
guy that showed up with a camera. Because you could have been, just filming 3 seconds ago. And unfortunately, that's what they cited Peretti and tried to, I think, impugn his character, because in a video prior to the one where he was murdered,
Hmm.
they showed him in a confrontation with authorities, and he was aggressive and he was screaming and yelling, and somebody filmed that. And so there,
He was
in the
passionate.
space of you,
He was
when you're
passionate. I
being
will
an
say
angry
yes.
citizen and you're out there, actively in protest, those lines can get blurred. You might have a camera out, but if your behavior is such that they can reasonably say, or even unreasonably say and take the
Unreasonably,
chance
yeah. Because
that they
Don
could
had
spin it.
credentials, but they probably it's like we can spin this. How can we spin
Well,
this
they
to our
tried,
betterment?
but
Mm-hmm.
it's harder. It's harder because he's Don Lemon. It's
Yeah.
harder because he's
There's
been
proof
in
of him.
news.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm a journalist. Everybody knows me a journalist. If you just ask any person that knows who Don Lemon is, they go, "What does he do?" He's a journalist.
And he
Now, if
gets drunk
LeBron
on New Year's
James was
Eve.
there,
Yeah,
I'm
that
serious. If
too.
LeBron was there with a camera, I'm
Oh,
not saying that we wouldn't accept that he had something to report. But if he said, "I'm a journalist," I'm like, a little bit.
yeah, and I see that it does feel like there is like a breakdown in protections in general, but like pointing out the difference. If I'm in my room right now, like we're doing, talking about something that's happened, we're commentating on it. We're not journalists. We have to be collecting the information to inform the public, physically present, interviewing witnesses, and firsthand. But you do cross into that territory of getting yourself in trouble the minute you are kind of interacting with whatever is going on in a way that they can incite as being controversial, over aggressive, which is what has
Well,
happened
yeah. I
in
mean,
any of these
I think
instances.
this conversation, for me at least, is more about just understand the space that you're going into. This is not about abject right or abject wrong. You have constitutional protections. You have the right to this. You have the right to that. Fourth Amendment, First Amendment, all of these things. In the moment, they do not give a fuck. And I've been arrested. Yeah, I called you one day. I got arrested at a protest.
Yes, 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 you did.
I fucking got. They didn't give a shit that I had my
No,
little
they did.
thing. I got released.
He was locked up. Don't let him out. Yes.
But I'm saying they fucking, I got arrested
And
because
you were you filming at the protest? What was their grounds for
I
the
was I
arrest?
was I was photographing, and what they did. This was downtown during the Black Lives Matter protest after
Mm-hmm.
Floyd.
Yeah.
Um, what the police will do in instances like that is they start to form a perimeter, right? Like you in the middle, you scream, "Fuck the police!" Fuck
Mm-hmm.
12. You're doing all the thing.
Fuck the
Kiss
pigs.
my ass. Yeah, a cab, right? You're doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
Marching
yeah,
motherfuckers.
yeah.
And what they're doing is they go to the two or three surrounding streets and they slowly block the
They
street.
slowly surround
And
you.
so it's
Yeah.
6:45, and they've called for a 7 o'clock curfew,
Curfew,
right?
and now you
Right.
blocked in. You can't even get
And
out.
and
Now
then,
you.
and they're waiting like motherfucker at 6:58. You might still slip out, right?
Yeah,
But 7 o'clock, here they come. They start walking in, and they're
with the
closing
little
from all
plastic
directions.
things.
And
Mm,
and
mm.
if you are a credentialed journalist in a circumstances like that, you're filming, you're shooting, whatever, you got your badge, you got your crew, you're two or three people that we're all from Univision or wherever we're from, you might get some leeway, right? But we've seen in these in more than one event, they're shooting, journalists in the face with, pepper balls and whatever else they're
Mm.
doing. They're doing all these things. So I'm not talking about what is fair. I'm
Yeah,
talking about what is actually happening when you're actually on the street and you're getting confronted with people who don't have to take your word for it.
yeah.
And all things being equal, would it be easier for them to get you out of the way so they can get on to somebody that they can put in jail and they can put a mark off on their ledger? Or fuck it, do I take you too? And whatever happens, happens, and we'll let you figure that shit out later. And worse, I don't give a fuck who you are, that I know you, or that what you're doing is legal, and that I can clearly see that. The directive that I've gotten from my own government is to cast all that aside and just grab you anyway.
It's a scary thought in today's world. Like
So
if
I'm
I'm
just
pointing
saying
a camera, I'm putting myself at risk for arrest, or we've seen even worse. It's a
yeah,
scary
so
thought.
it's just for the influencer, and I'm saying influencer because I think that's a sort of lighter approach to, like, this shit ain't fun, this ain't cool. They will fucking arrest you. That'll go on your record. They may treat you in a way that you don't like for a period of time that you can't take it. That's possible. Or you may
Yeah,
just be held for a few hours to just fuck up your day. So if that's not what you in it for, then don't be out there just willy nilly trying to be cool and shit. And when you see them coming, just for your own
yeah.
sake,
And I
back the
I
fuck
don't
up.
don't want people to feel a hesitancy to document injustice. And I get why you would, because it's like, okay, if the journalists are getting arrested, how does that affect, the on the street journalists that are going to position themselves and try to, get their little interview and what have you. And I do want people to feel like it's safe to stream, but it's like that leads me to the question that this whole episode title, is it safe to stream
Well,
in this day and age?
no, no, it's not. And the thing that matters is that what we're talking about is skin in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is, if we need witnesses on the street, we need people to push back, we need people to put themselves on the line, in a way that challenges the discourse, that challenges the narratives, and that disproves the lies being told by the state, right? And so that doesn't happen unless real people are out in the world doing things in real time and reporting and showing. And by the time the Alex Preddy video gets to the White House, that shit's already around the world.
Yeah.
Y'all are chasing it now. Now you're trying to come up with a story to recontextualize something that we've already seen, but we've already seen it, right? And so now, whatever that narrative is, that's something else. But for the person out on the street, I'm not saying that we can't and shouldn't put ourselves on the line. In
Mm-hmm.
circumstances like this, we have to, and there will be sacrifices, and some of them will be, tragic, as we've seen. And for the casual protester, if you will, I'm just saying, don't walk out there blindly. Don't go out there like this shit is cute. Don't go out
Yeah.
there like you don't think it could happen to you, right? Because that woman was sitting in her car, and we're talking about 90 seconds. 90 seconds. I'm estimating 90 seconds from the time that walk guy pulled up, walked over to her car, tried to snatch the door open. She got scared. She starts to pull off, and now she's dead. That shit happened in less than a fucking time it takes to watch a Fritos commercial.
Yeah. They, like the ICE, they have a whole set of rules that we do not have access to. It's almost like their whole set of rules is we don't have no rules. And that's
Well,
scary.
they have rules. They have directives that we have not been told,
No.
and they're being kept from us. And they slowly start to come out, by a deceptive administration. And okay, fine, right? But in terms of, again, wading into that water, is it safe? No, it's not safe. Is it necessary? Yes, it is necessary.
Mhm.
Are there ways to manage this that could be advantageous to you? It's better if you're a professional, or at least if you're credentialed or had some sort of experience in the world of reporting, so that you know who to call, you know what to say, you know what to present, you know how to preserve your material. Do you take your phone out there? Are they fucking checking your shit and they're air tagging your ass? Is
Mhm.
your footage uploading to the cloud in real time, so that when or if they take your phone, they can't delete your shit, right? So these are all things that professionals need to be aware of, and journalists think about before they go out there.
Mhm.
And so, if you're going to go in that space and you're operating in the space of journalists, then what you owe to yourself is get as much practical information, not just about what the administration is doing in terms of their active investigations, they like to call it, but also what are your city's rules, what are your state's rules around journalistic practices, who can say they're journalists, under what
Mhm.
circumstances, what do you need to have in order to prove that? If you don't need to have anything, you need to know that, so that at
Yeah.
least when the body camera is shooting you, you can go, the shit you just said to me is untrue. You don't get to take my phone. The Fourth Amendment says there's a fucking right against unreasonable search and seizure. That is search and seizure, right? Do I have my face open the phone, or do I have to have a code? Because they can't force me to tell the code, but they can wrestle and hold my hand and try
No,
to get me to
and
open my shit,
yeah,
right?
listen, y'all gotta be careful out there. And we're talking a lot about what like the everyman would have to do, but even when you look at our cultural icons, you know, they have their placement in politics as well. So like, is it just me, or do black icons stop being people and start being political symbols? If you look historically, we have a lot of black faces that get used as political symbols all the time. Muhammad Ali, he refuses to draft, and all of a sudden he's anti-American, radical, dangerous. And instead of being a champion, the media narrative now, he's a threat and he becomes a symbol for patriotism. Colin Kaepernick, he's silent. He has a silent protest about police brutality, and now that is reframed into he's disrespecting the flag, and it stops being about police brutality, and now the issue is him. He shouldn't play. He's disrespectful. Nina Simone, she spoke about racism, and all of a sudden she's labeled as angry, unstable, too political, and then her career is sidelined because she's not palatable. And then you're hearing a lot nowadays about Nicki Minaj, and she has
What
all
did Nicki
these social.
Minaj do? I haven't heard
What
anything
did
at
she
all about Nicki
do?
Minaj.
Oh, you living under a rock. Well,
Nicki
she's
Minaj? Well, I haven't heard anything from Nicki Minaj since Anaconda. What happened?
okay. Well, you're blessed to not hear much. I mean, she's becoming the national talking person for
I'm lying.
MAGA. I mean, it's. I hope
Elisa.
so.
I'm lying.
Okay.
I'm
We
lying.
All right, because as you know, the thing is with her is I don't even know if she's fully aware of it. I don't know if this is like purposeful or if she's delusional to it. It's sad to me. I'm not a barb, but
Well,
I feel sad for the barbs.
yeah. The way that I like to characterize things these days in certain instances is it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that, uh,
Mm.
you know, however it is that, she's encountered the world, up to the point where she started saying things that would make her fan base look at her and go, "What the fuck are you talking about? And why are you over there?" Right?
Yeah.
But we've seen versions of this before, and a thing about celebrity is you can be inside of a bubble, right? Because a lot of your days and a lot of your time, is spent around people whose business it is to elevate you and to help you exploit whatever
Tell
your
you
talents are,
yes. Yeah.
and to and not necessarily kiss your ass, but facilitate. Right? And sometimes people don't necessarily want to, push back against whatever this narrative you think, and they don't know or think that you about to go over to the White House and hold hands with the most evil, racist, fucking lion ass, sexual predator, law breaking, convicted felon, impeached twice ass, motherfucking, possibly on the way to dementia, fucking president.
Okay, put the ether beat under that because that was a
I'm just saying, but
discipline.
it's like, yeah, you going in, and nobody knew you was going to do that. Who would have
Yeah.
thought, Nikki, by the way, when you go over there why are you going to the White House
It
again?
wasn't on my bingo card. Like, I mean, there's been a lot going on with her, things she's saying on social media. So I thought maybe there was like something that was awry, and we've seen that with some of our other icons where they go a little crazy. Kanye West, but I didn't think it was going to go to the
Well,
place that it
Kanye West has
is.
gone uncrazy, by the way.
Yes, I
Uh,
saw
he
that.
he
He has an
went
album coming
crazy.
out though. That's
He went
why
crazy. Then
probably.
he came back.
Then he came back. He
It.
apologized for his crazy. He realized how
I
crazy he
want to.
was.
I want to briefly just touch this, and I want to be judicious about it. We're early in this, and I don't want to just be name checking people,
Okay.
trying to for
We
like
don't want to
crowding
get
or shit like that.
canceled. Don't cancel
Well,
us,
no, no, no,
y'all.
not
Not
that.
just
I'm just
yet.
saying, naming people, while we're building this audience and while we're kind of carving out whatever our lane is. I just want to be sensitive to how I bring other people's names into our conversation,
That's so
and in this case, it's
responsible of
relevant.
you. Yeah,
Well,
that's
no,
so
because
responsible.
I would like that. I would like if people were responsible when they brought my name up in certain
Okay.
circumstances. And I say that to say, I was listening to Van Lathan recently talk about Kanye's apology letter,
Mm-hmm.
and it was notable for him because when he was at the TMZ, you know, um, he confronted Kanye about some of his ideas and some of his behavior, and that was a brave and a bold thing to do, especially in the circumstance that he was in, right?
Yeah.
So that was very brave of him, and very genuine. It felt like a thing that he couldn't help himself, from saying, like, not different than when Kanye was standing there next to Mike Myers and with George Bush hates black people, right?
Yes.
So it just came out of him, And so now that Kanye has done this whole thing and generated all the activity and all the conflict and all this stuff has come out of our experience of him over the last few years. Um, Van's interpretation of the apology was that from the people he spoke to that know Kanye or have some sort of relationship, he seemed to feel that it was genuine
Okay.
and that it was something that wasn't coming out of the blue, right? It wasn't just he
Yeah.
didn't that week just sit down and go, I'm gonna write an apology. It's like, no, 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 no. It seems, or the way I understood it from him, is that behind the scenes he's been putting some time and some effort and some work
Well,
into,
that's good.
maybe addressing these ills, and he says
But
as much in writing.
do you think
So,
I thought it sounded genuine, but do you think it's also tied to some sort of promotion? Like, is it apologize and then I put something out?
well,
As far as because that could be dual serving.
sure, it could be, and the reality is we will see.
Mm.
Listen, I ain't being out here like I ain't never done nothing wrong. I done made people mad. I done said shit. I done did shit that I had to apologize for. And there are moments when I apologized and it was the right thing to do, but it was maybe more about trying to diffuse the animus and the conflict, and that you're wrong but you can't quite necessarily speak to it, and it's different when you're not in that place anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? The apology of, man, I was fucked up, and you may wish that I wasn't, but I was.
I do
And when
think
I
there's a
was,
change. I think there's a change, and not to cut you off, sorry, but I owe you
go
a
ahead.
couple cuss.
I know.
I,
Anytime, anytime.
I do think there's a change because his wife is wearing clothes now.
Listen, whatever. I literally whatever. I'm not commenting on that or anything about that piece of it. I'm just saying that in the journey of a man to have uh, behaved the way that he behaved, and then at some point make some sort of assessment and maybe genuinely attribute that to the fact that he wasn't caring for himself as well as he
Mm.
should have been. You know, I've had some conversation about that before on another podcast, and now maybe he's in a place or he's in a way that maybe he's able to address it, and maybe there are people around him who care about him enough who he's willing to
Yeah,
listen to, who can help. And if
maybe.
his public statement is, I'm trying to do better than I was doing, then I am happy about that. I would love to see the old Kanye or
I would
some version of,
love to get back to the old Kanye. I think we all
yeah, part
would.
of the old, but just like I would love to see him in good spirits. I'd love to see him in a
The
good way.
evolved, the evolved
Right.
Kanye.
And the
Yeah.
thing about people, and I don't mean to name check him in the same way because it's not the same offense, but Mike Tyson had a very public downfall. It was
Mm.
dramatic, and it took a while. And then there were other things in his life that proved to be significant challenges, difficulties, other tragedies. But today, as we speak, you know he's living a good life, and,
He's
and
living
seems to have
good.
shown up and
Yeah.
found a way to turn that experience not around, but at least find some peace for himself, because ultimately you're dealing with people who are not at peace, and people who are not at peace with themselves introduce conflict into the rest of the world. That's what the fuck happens.
Yeah, and I would love to see that turn around for him too. But
Me
I
too.
talk about all those figures because each of them have a message, whether their message is in the Nicki Minaj of it all, very different from obviously like a Colin Kaepernick's message was. The message seems to always get lost sometimes when the messenger is black, and it makes me wonder, like, is this just something that happens to our black public figures? At what point does you as a cultural icon stop being a person and you start being this political tool
Never.
for use?
Never.
Yeah.
I just saw a post on Threads, and here I go. Uh, Apparently, Ice T reposted this. Don't
What?
ask. just Just don't ask.
Okay,
But I see reposted. Somebody basically put up something that's like, if you're an actor or a singer, the reason that you're here is ostensibly to provide entertainment for us. That's all we want from you. Shut up. And it's like, well, you're just an audience person. And all you do is watch shit that other people make. So clearly you have no ideas of your own. So why don't you shut the fuck up?
mm.
Right? Laura Ingram telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Fuck you.
I was
Why
just
don't
gonna
you
say
shut
that.
up
So
and cook?
shut up and perform, shut up and act. Is that what we
Yeah,
is
so
that what we
tap
doing
dance.
now?
It's motherfucking nigga. We ain't Bojangles out here.
Mm-mm.
Right? Yeah, a shut up and dance was when it was under the threat of my life. That's when I would shut up and dance. Right?
Mm.
Because I knew that if I didn't, you'd kill me. But now that, it could go either way, you might get me, but motherfucker, I might take one or two of you down in the process. Then it's like, I don't know, it depends on what we're going to dance to and what that dancing is going
Exactly.
to look like. It might look like me whooping your ass.
Eh,
As people like to say, you want to dance?
hey.
Motherfucker, I want to dance. Let's dance. So I'm just saying that uh, it doesn't make any difference what your profession is or what your craft or your walk through life. I live in the same United States of America that everybody else lives in, and I have just as much right and just as much vested
Mm.
an interest in seeing justice and righteousness and care and compassion and all of these things, served, writ large. And that's what I care about, right? And if you think that I shouldn't care about that, fuck you and the brains you wrote in on, because that's what I think.
That part.
We all contribute to this, right? And because I'm popular, because I made you laugh, doesn't rob me of the rest of my rights or the rest of my
Right, to have an
ability.
opinion. Yeah, just like just because we are entertaining you does not mean we have an opinion, does not mean we don't deserve to have thoughts and likes and dislikes and what have you. And like, that's crazy. Who
Well,
was
and
the
and the other
person that
thing
wrote
is,
that? The shut up and act of it all? Like, was that he
I don't know.
reposted someone else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just some no
Somebody,
name,
somebody.
whatever.
Yeah, we're the it's a double edged sword because sometimes on the one hand somebody will go shut up and dribble, and then somebody else will go, how come you didn't say nothing? Right?
Right? Right?
Right. I got friends in Minneapolis and from that area and from that community, and they have some popularity. They got a little fame, and people going, why don't you do something? Why don't you? And it's like, well, that's not my job. They have people for that. I mean, I'm not saying I shouldn't do it, but I don't have to do it. Bruce Springsteen wrote a Minneapolis song, you know, uh, but there's nothing wrong with that. How much did it help? I don't know.
Yeah.
More power to him. I fuck with Springsteen. Like, at least he said something and he did what he was able to do. I don't expect him to go out there and get in the line with the cameras or whatever, but Dick Gregory might have. Dick Gregory did.
He sure
So people
was.
get vested and they put themselves on the line in different ways. And, Don is out there and he's an independent journalist. He's already been cast aside by a
Mm-hmm.
major corporation. And I just want to say briefly, part of the reason that we're doing this podcast now, I actually attribute to Don Lemon. Because once he left CNN, and I guess he was trying to figure out what to do, and I don't know the man, I've met him once, but he said that when he started his online platform,
Mm-hmm.
he said his initial beliefs were that he needed all this equipment and he needed gear and you got to get all these people and he needed to do all this stuff. And he said that in his early sort of part of the endeavor, he slowly began to realize that what mattered is that he was Don Lemon. And so whether he was on the phone or whether he's in his office or whether he's on the street, the fact of the matter is that he's Don Lemon. He has currency in what he has presented to people, and he's trading on that currency in a like fashion. I wanted you to trust me. I think you can trust me. I would try to be trustworthy, and I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna try and get the truth. These people don't want you to have it because they don't like what I said. He can't say fuck Trump on CNN. He can say fuck Trump on the lemon drop.
Yeah.
Right?
Was he
And we like
reporting for
knowing
the
that he's
lemon
able to do this.
drop? Was he reporting
Yeah.
for when he was out there? And that also could have been, because it's like he wasn't reporting in this the CNN. confines and whatever and
But he's got
protections
a
or whatever.
fucking, he's a journalist with a company and a website and a
Yeah,
platform where he talks about the news and he has a background of doing that. So
yeah,
again, I'm just saying that I was encouraged and actually inspired by, you know, by him just putting himself and going, you don't have to figure it all out immediately. You know,
yeah.
sometimes part of the process is, you know, sometimes you got to run before you walk, as they say.
You gotta fail up. You gotta keep it going. But it's like when I look at all the people we're talking about, a lot of them made a conscious decision to do something, and then whether it's a form of protest or go out and collect that information, and then they deal with the repercussions of it. But you can be a black and a cultural icon, and you can become a political statement when you not even trying to. Like the Obamas, their face is on gorillas and posted by the White House. They're sitting at home like, well, what is this? Like, you can literally just be black, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, let's use you to make some sort of statement to incite our base. And it can be as racist as it wants to be in nowadays, and we don't even have to apologize for it. Talking about it was the Lion King. There was no gorillas in the Lion King. That was purposeful, and you knew what that was going to do,
Listen,
and you knew it was
so
going to piss us off.
you know we'll have a conversation about this later. You know, some portion of this, but you know, what was notable is that they didn't make any public response to that,
I
and it
love
was not
that.
it was
We
not
go high.
necessary.
Mm.
She go high, and then even going high. I'm just where I was. I looked down, and you have sunk
You down
so
there.
low.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't go high. You have just crawled into the deepest, darkest fucking place that you can find, and you're sending out, you know, signals from this hellscape of the inside of your mind.
We need some
Listen, I'm,
gun
I, you
gun
know, I,
sound effects. You're shooting shots today. I love
I
it.
could, because you know why? Because it's depressing,
Yeah.
right? It's depressing that we actually. Why do I got to sit here and watch these people lie? Why do I have to sit here and pretend like these are serious people and that they're actually making some effort to ensure that we're all having good lives? They're not.
Why not?
They are protecting predators, murderers, thieves, pedophiles, rapists, abusers. They're protecting all of these people in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Every offense that I just named, I can't give you the name right off the top of my head, but I bet you we could find somebody to check each one of those boxes of crimes, and six of them might be Trump on his own.
It's, okay.
So, you know, I'm not trying to get our podcast shut down before it even gets going good.
Shadow banned from YouTube because that happens. But
I don't know,
we do
man.
have to we have to talk our opinions, and I don't want
Yeah.
this to turn into a political. We're not a political podcast. We speak about culture, but they're in culture, and we're dealing with journalism is a part of this industry, and so it was time for us to like talk about it. But I want to move
Yeah.
on from that because I want to talk more about industry topics, and in this week's table read, where we give the industry the notes it didn't ask for. I want to look at the history of television networks and these streaming platforms and media companies. And when I was looking at it, I saw a patterns start to emerge that I couldn't really ignore. It seems like when you look at Black people, we are the audience that is used to launch, build momentum, provide this visibility to advertisers, and then once the machine is kind of up and running, programming kind of shifts, right? And now it's not with or based on the very people that made the thing run. And so that brings me to the script for this week, which is Black Attention for Sale. So let me give you some historical examples. So we look at UPN, right? You remember UPN? I used to love UPN.
I remember UPN.
Loved it. You People Network, we used to call it. Okay, built entirely on Black audiences. And then once it was profitable, there was a whole rebrand, and then all of a sudden it merged with the WB, and now we got the CW, which became like what would you call it? The last episode, the network for little white girls and stuff like that. And I mean, before this merge, we had Moesha, we had Girlfriends, the Parkers, Half and Half, One on One, and we created this like reliable Black audience. And then when we get to the CW, we got Gossip Girl, Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, Smallville, 90210, very different young white teen, young adult genre. And
Yeah.
it seems like all those black led ecosystem sitcoms in that ecosystem did not make the transition. It absorbed, and the black audience that made it viable did not get absorbed in it. And you see it with a lot. You see it with Fox. You had Martin, Living Single, and Living Color, Rock, New York Undercover, and then Fox becomes X Files, Simpsons, procedurals. You know what I mean? That's broad
Right.
white middle America. You look at the WB. We had the Wayans Bros, the Jamie Foxx show, Sister, Parenthood, good shows. And then all of a sudden, we shift to Dawson's Creek, Gilmore Girls, Seventh Heaven. Same pivot, different logo. So when I think of like the Tubi of the current, streaming right now, massive black cinema database, a lot of low budget content to capture attention, and is this all being just used to grow this platform, scale it for a broader ad market, and then we shift to something else? Like, what is up with that? Like, first of all, like, why are we the test dummies for your network? You create amazing shows that we love, and then when you get put on and get the mass appeal that you want, now those shows no longer have a home with you. Now we're no longer someone you feel like servicing. That's fucked up.
Uh, or,
Or
um, yeah, or it's a reliable way of doing business. That's what we know for a fact. If you are a
yeah, it
major
works.
corporation, well, that's what I'm saying. If you are a major corporation and you are in show business, the business of showing people things, if you wanted to launch, a platform or a piece of work or whatever it is, ideally, you're looking for the most eyeballs that you can get. And so
Right.
if you're just looking to get something off the ground, then there's a thing called, I mean, excuse me if I don't get my words right, but I think it's the minimum viable product, right?
Minimum viable product.
I think it's minimum viable product or some variation of that phrase. And what that is what is the cheapest point of entry I have into this business space? So if I want a clothing empire, what's the first thing that I can make that people might buy and I can check to see if they fuck with me or my designs? T-shirts, right?
Okay.
And so if I can start with t-shirts, then maybe I can scale that into shorts. And if I can get to shorts, maybe I can get a two-piece. If I get a two-piece, maybe I can get a casual evening fit. Right. And I'm just saying. And so then your first question will be, well, who wears t-shirts?
So are
Right.
we the
And so,
cheap audience? We're the cheap
well,
audience?
yes, yes, you are.
Damn.
And
I
here's
like
something
that.
to understand. Uh, this is stuff that I'm thinking about. I don't have answers, but this is something that I'm curious about. So the thing about black people's attention is that if it were money, we would have to vet the person who wanted us to give them our attention, and then we would say, okay, this looks interesting. It's called In Living Color. That's fascinating. All right. And what are we going to get back from this besides laughs? Well, and then I
Mm.
don't know what the well is, but I do know that our attention is ostensibly functioning the same as money because our investment is what they use to launch the idea, the concept, the property, the company. And then when it gains traction, they use whatever it is that they've created to leverage into a different, bigger, broader, or more profitable or more reliable space.
No, that's a good point. So let
And
me just let
they,
me just ask you in terms of like to just simplify it. If I'm that big media company and I
Mhm.
want a guaranteed return on my investment, and I know how black people are and operate as a culture is if I put out something black that has black people in it, black people will watch it because black people like supporting black people. And this is something I know historically. So I can bet on this show, Living Color or Living Single, being successful in that community. So let me service that community only for the purpose of making my network viable because they have a tendency to do things the same way and I can bank on it. Right? So that's what you feel like they think as that big
I, I,
corporation.
I don't I don't feel like that. That's precisely what they
That's
do.
what they think. Okay, got
Right?
it.
That's precisely, it's not what they think, it's what they do.
Right.
It's what they do. And so if I am the black entertainer, producer, filmmaker, actor, singer, whatever it is, I might get a certain elevation in terms of who I am. So I
Hmm.
may be Issa Rae and I came off of YouTube, and they needed something that could speak to the audience that girls had, but they want to do black girls, and who's the best person to do that thing? And it may because she was in that space or toying around with those ideas already. So
Hmm.
for HBO, that's an opportunity for them to once again tap into a space that they've been in before, Def Comedy Jam, and and whatever else, right? And touch on this audience that they can go to. It's like, shit, we're out of ideas. What should we do now? Let's get some black people while we try to figure this shit out,
Let's get some
right?
black
Because you're
people.
talking about a regularly underserved audience. Regularly, something
Yeah.
comes up, gets popular, they like it for a while, and then boom, it's gone,
Do you think
right?
they
And
starve
so
us purposely to do that? Like they starve us of that programming to
no, no,
do
no.
that?
I don't think they starve us purposely. I think they just have no ongoing interest in cultivating that audience.
Mm,
So the
that
audience
hurts.
is always out there, and it
Mm,
moves around, right? So now HBO has it, and then it left HBO, then Showtime got it for a little while, then it leaves Showtime, now it's over at Stars, now the
stars
Stars, now they leave it, now it's, oh, right, the audience moves
passing
around.
the ball around.
Tyler Perry brought it over to TBS for a minute, it was over there for a second, right? Tubi has part of it now, right? So this is this audience of eyeballs and of attention is something that could or might be leveraged by the creatives and possibly by the audience itself. And the question is, before we give our attention to somebody, are we asking who is this? Is this
Yeah.
something that we want to support in terms of the way that it has been brought to market, right?
But do you think the
Have
audience
there
is even aware? Do you think they're even aware that they are being used as sort of this launch audience and not even the long-term plan? Because you can't think, "Oh, how am I going to sell or utilize my black attention for my benefit," if you don't even realize what your black attention is being used for.
yes and no. uh, Black people as a group absolutely have an understanding about their energies and efforts, their money and their attention, and how and when and where it goes to somebody and what they want to support.
Hmm.
When its target actively removing their diversity, equality, and inclusion efforts, when they're actively doing forward facing things that say, I know we said this was important to us, but not so important that we're going to continue to support you, then it's easy for us to pull back,
Hmm.
right? But if you don't know the insidious nature of why something is on in the first place, you're not incentivized to reject it, because even the simple act of it being on may serve the purpose that they need it to serve, right? Sometimes that's what clickbait is. Clickbait ain't about this shit being good. It's about getting you to click. And once you've clicked, now you're complaining, but it's too late. You already clicked.
Yeah.
And so if you don't become conscious of what you're consuming, why, and sometimes it does require us to be more educated,
Hmm.
you know, sometimes it requires us to be, more deferential. Sometimes we have to criticize or critique people in our own community. When they create a piece of work that we somehow find objectionable. The answers become, all right, why did y'all do this way? And sometimes it is who's responsible. But when you're in those rooms and the forward moving train is based on somebody hasn't had an opportunity to get something on, people don't get opportunities period to work and ply their craft,
Right.
while everybody is in there kind of championing what they think their version of the good idea is. 9 times out of 10 there's not somebody in there trying to sink the boat who's going, I don't know, man, I don't know if y'all should do this, because there's plenty of shit that you've seen on TV and in films, plays, radio, that all you ask is, there was no black people in the room when this happened.
Oh yeah,
I know
all
that
the time,
because
all the
what
time.
I'm looking at right now tells me that there was no black person in the room, and if they were in there, they got they got shouted down or shut down or they were excused. So and I want to I'm going to pivot to this because I'm watching it. Relationship goals. Uh,
Okay.
Method Man, Kelly Rowland,
Yeah, Kelly Rowland.
and I've been seeing a lot of bad reviews and critiques of this film, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, I have
you know,
too.
all right. So I said, well, let me take a look and see what's going on
Okay.
over
What are your
there.
thoughts?
Um, the simplest and most immediate reactions I have is that obviously it's in the same wheelhouse as Think Like a Man. It's a relationship comedy based on a book. In this case, there's a
Where
pastor behind the book.
where is it viewed at? Where is it
Amazon.
on?
It's on Amazon
Okay, it's on
Prime.
Amazon. Okay.
Right. So it's on Amazon Prime. Devon Franklin. We know him.
Okay, so
I've met.
it's faith
I've met.
based. This whole
Yeah,
thing. It's
yeah,
okay.
but he comes out of the Sony ecosystem, so he's a fucking like real legit, like
Yeah,
he's a movie
no, of
man,
course we
right?
we love the
So he
man.
knows what he's doing. Um, in terms of taking a piece of IP, the book, if it's called Relationship Goals, and Mike Todd, he of Drewski fame, red bottom shoes, but he's got a book, and he's doing
Hmm.
a reasonable thing, which is taking this book and exploiting it into another property. Um, got a couple of fine faces to be in this. Method Man is showing up with a theme song. You got What a Man playing while he's
Listen,
walking into the room in
it's
slow
a
motion.
fine man, a fine man,
He's
and Kelly
fine
Rowland's a
man.
beautiful. So it has all the ingredients. What's wrong with the cake?
um the simplest version of it is this: you're talking about a guy who's a pastor who wrote a book who wants to forward his properties and exploit his brand and his agenda. So, relationship goals has been criticized for being like an infomercial or for a commercial. But yeah, the guy who wrote it made it into a movie so that it could be a more popular book and it could bring more people into his church. His business is not movies, his business is church. He's using movies and a book to bring more people into his congregation and into his ecosystem. So, however, the movie does, if it's okay enough, and it brings eyeballs. Now we're talking about Mike Todd, and
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was 3 weeks ago.
So wait, is the movie itself like a big commercial for the church, or is it just the movie is out there and now everyone's talking about the movie, and because they're talking about the movie, they're talking about Mike Todd, and so they're talking about his church?
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie. Some movies you like, some movies you don't like. But in the Think Like a Man of it all, the
Uh-huh.
difference between Think Like a Man and relationship goals is Think Like a Man is being exploited by movie people. Will Packer is looking at Think Like a Man and going, this would make a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring in a director. We got Kevin Hart. We got Taraji Henson. We got a great comedian. We got a fantastic actress. We got great writers. And we got Steve Harvey. He's an incredible brand. He's going to show up. And we're going to use what he wrote and what he has exploited in his radio show as a foundation to launch this film. But it's film forward. We want people to come to the movie. That's what's most important, right?
Okay.
We're movie makers. We're not trying to sell books. We're not trying to promote the Steve Harvey radio show. We're trying to make a good movie, and we get good movie making people to do it. Relationship goals is a guy trying to exploit and promote his brand. So he gets competent movie making people, but their job is to elevate and promote his brand. These aren't people that don't know how to write. The director is a friend of mine, right? She's not a person that doesn't know how to direct. The people know how to act. They're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
So the question is, well, why do it? Right? Why suffer the slings and arrows, of people going, this ain't this ain't that, this ain't this other thing? Well, you think that they're making movies just so that you're entertained. They're not. Sometimes they're making a movie because there's a cost benefit to it that has nothing to do with the film itself. Sometimes, if I'm a face based filmmaker and I'm in the space of Amazon, and
Mhm.
Amazon has an immediate delivery system and they have an underserved audience, I can create a piece of content that is going to be on a delivery system that's going to reach people in a way and create engagement around my other platform, which is shipping out sheets and whatever else they sell on Amazon. And they got a internet server company that they have.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that the movie itself is not about necessarily, and this is no shade to the filmmakers, and this is not an indictment of anybody's ability, talent, or interest in making a good movie. I'm
Hmm.
just saying that making the movie is not the most important thing. Making the movie is the thing that's supposed to drive a type of engagement and connection for an audience that Amazon wants to reach.
Yeah, Amazon doesn't need it to be good or bad. It just wants the people to watch
Well,
it
but
so
see,
it
that's
brings about
pejorative. You're
engagement.
saying good or bad, and good or bad is not necessarily wrapped up in did I like this story? Do I think this is a great actress? Do I think this is a cool actor? Do I think this person is funny?
Mm.
Sometimes good or bad is we put it on the platform, a whole bunch of shit stirred up around it, a bunch of people clicked in to watch it, and now our algorithm has pushed a certain type of movie. If you're Devon Franklin, this is fantastic. Because
Yeah,
even if you
that's
didn't
good.
like this one, other films that he's made, may start to pop up in your ecosystem. If you're
Hmm.
Amazon and you're getting people who are going, oh man, Amazon is putting on some faith based and cleaner, non, dirty sexual stuff. Now Mike Pence has something to watch. He who knew that he loved Kelly Rowland. Him and Mother can sit down and watch a little rom com, right? And now they feel better ordering stuff from Amazon again. I'm just saying that the goal is not always make the best film.
Yeah, it's not
Ben
always to be the
Affleck
most
and Matt
entertaining
Damon
thing.
just made The Rip, right? And hey Matt, Ben, fantastic guys. The Rip is not the best work that either one of them has done. They've both done better versions of that movie,
Of that same
but
movie.
the
Yeah.
business proposition behind doing it is something else, right? What kind of footprint do they create for their production companies? What type of access do they get to an audience that just likes actioners? Tiana Taylor's in it. She's like, I should be in it. That's cool. I get to stand next to Ben Affleck. We in an action movie. I got Leo and Ben. This is great. So I'm just saying there are other reasons to do these films, and to the degree to which you think they're competently executed or not, every person gets to like and dislike what they want. And
Yeah.
everybody doesn't agree in this online space. I'm just saying that what they're trying to accomplish, they may have accomplished in spades with it. Why'd they make the Melania movie? It ain't because they needed to make a $40 million documentary. You may never find out exactly what it is they were trying to accomplish, but it wasn't to fucking make a great documentary. I can guarantee you that.
Do you think when filmmakers are in the midst of making said film or TV show that they are aware that it may be perceived to some as not good? Do you think there's an
Well,
awareness around it?
um, simply, I guess I can say yes.
I
But
think so too.
but the thing is that I think the problem with that sort of thinking is that to me that means you're not showing up in good faith, right?
Yeah, but I mean, okay, have I acted on things where I was happy to be there and I saw the script and I see you get the part and you get there and then you kind of see how there are some things production wise that are outside of your realm or things that you can touch that you feel like should be different, especially with me because it's like when I come up on set I come with the producer's mind. So I can see clearly when stuff is not as it should or not in the best order. And you kind of would be stepping on toes to kind of say something if you're showing up there like as an actor. So there are some times where you can see the train running and you're like, well, I can do the best performance I could do, but I can only read the words that are on the script.
Okay.
You know.
So again, and I'm I was laughing earlier, right? Um, Again, you're talking about you have a number of things that you need to consider here, just in the business. When you're talking about relationship goals, Kelly Rowland is one of the executive producers, right? And
Mhm.
so she's executive producing this thing alongside Von Franklin, and they got Mike Todd and whatever he's going to do. But Again, in terms of what you're accomplishing as the artist, if you're Kelly Rowland and you're looking around trying to, get roles, and, you're trying to develop things, and get a footprint in this business. So you may be looking for an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And so I have an opportunity now to get some experience, with a bona fide filmmaker in Franklin and his company. They had some successes. Here's a piece of IP that has an audience. I have an image that plays well alongside this material, right?
Hmm.
Like Kelly Rowland has got an objectively very nice life, and people seem to think very highly of her, right?
Yeah.
And so this film does nothing to damage that, right? At the bare minimum, she gets to act. She plays a girl in love. She's mad at the guy. It goes well or whatever. In the process, maybe they hold up that book a few too many times. But as I started watching the film, I didn't get all the way through. I was a good half an hour in, and just, I've seen bad films before. This was fun, and it was simple. Not super complicated. Yeah, come on, it's Method Man and Kelly Rowland. They in a movie. I'll put it to you like this: if Omar Epps and Sanaa Lathan put out a rap song, yeah, I'm not saying it would be the worst, but it probably wouldn't be the best rap tune you ever had. The Love and Basketball rap song.
But are they actually holding up that book like in the movie on multiple
Absolutely,
occasions?
100%. Method
So
Man
it is.
holds up. I don't have a book to hold up, but he
So
literally
it's a
holds up the
commercial.
book and goes. He should have put it right next to his face and goes, "Listen here. Let me tell you about these relationship goals as written by Mike Todd. Listen here,
Oh.
Kelly Rowland." And the story is
Oh.
fun. It's kind of like Think Like a Man, and it's a little bit of Boomerang also,
Okay.
where
I have to check
where
it
the girl
out then.
shows up, and his guy, and they fight in the same position, and hijinks ensue or whatever. So they got good DNA, and I'm telling you, I'm looking at the movie. It's well shot. I laughed. There was a couple of moments. Yes, the book was a bit much, you know, but but that's because Mike Todd isn't a filmmaker. And so Mike Todd doesn't know that, guess what? The film people, if you put the shit up there once, we saw it. You don't have to keep putting it in there. It's like on
Yeah.
the Ice Cube War of the Worlds, they had an Amazon delivery driver in the Amazon War of the Worlds. And it's like, we're on Amazon. Why the fuck are you showing me an Amazon truck in this movie?
Do you think that was one of his notes? He was like, "Can you put up the book a couple more times? Because I just feel
It
like
might have been. It might
just
have
one, two more
been.
times."
And then Kelly's like, Mike, and then Meth was like, I'll do it.
And that's what I mean. Sometimes that happens. You're on the set and you're like, I don't think this holding up this book 5 times is the best choice. But
and,
that's going to make that person happy. Fine, I'll
and
hold
I'm
up the
just
book.
saying. So Kelly Rowland in her branding and in the things that she supports, she may or may not want to hold the book. Meth is like, I was cheese on the wire. This is not gonna hurt me. Right? I work out. I'm handsome now. Me holding up this book, nobody's taking me so seriously that holding up this book is going to harm me. So I'll do it.
Wow. So no,
So
I'll
I'm
check
just
it
saying,
out.
I'm not hating. I will not hate on relationship goals. You might like the film, you might not like the film. Okay, fine. I think that is relatively well casted. They got Dennis Haysbert in there. They got him to show up, and these people don't show up either. Either they think that it's something worthwhile in terms of what the art is. They think it's something worthwhile in terms of what the pay is, or sometimes they're just like, nobody ever calls me for anything, so I'm just going, and whatever happens, happens. But the
No.
the business proposition
Right.
of making the film is not that it's a highly critically acclaimed box office success. That's not what it's doing.
That's not the
It's
goal.
driving viewership, it's driving subscribers, it's opening up a pathway to more faith-based commercial properties. Woman Thou Art Loosed opened in theaters. And it did modestly well for Jakes, and TD Jakes has done other film productions. So he's slowly
Hmm.
building out a slate. That's not all faith based stuff. It may be faith informed. And so for Devon Franklin, this is a great move for him. For Kelly Rowland, this is a great move for her. Even for Method Man, who knew that he had a little romantic charmer in him a little bit? It's like, oh, it's a new look for Meth. So I'm just saying the net positives of doing this, I think, may outweigh whatever any individual's personal take on whether or not they thought it was a good film. That's my highest to lowest. I love fucking Spike Lee, highest to lowest. Can't nobody talk me out of it. and and y'all gonna be hearing about it from time to time for different reasons. And I just don't. Again, I don't want to be in a position where the pile on is about it
Hmm.
was just this, it was just that. Well, if you're going to be
Yeah.
in this business, if you're going to be in this business, you need to understand why things get done. And it ain't always because this the biggest, splashiest, best version of this film. It may be because this is the most cost effective way for us to achieve various goals. I'm trying to learn how to produce. I'm going to be taken seriously as a romantic lead. I'm going to get a film up on Amazon. I'm going to get my book and get more people come to my church. This fucking movie is just the car. It's just a fucking delivery system
To get everybody
to
where they need
get
to
people
go.
to, it's fucking Postmates.
There it is. There it is. So
Nobody
is that
loves
what
Postmates. They love getting sandwiches at their
they
house
like? They like the
without having to
food.
go outside.
Well, is that all you were watching this week? Are you watching anything else?
That's what I spent.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's like 'cause I really wanted to
Yeah.
get into it and dissect it. I want to finish. I want to finish watching. Shout out to my friend Linda Mendoza, directed Relationship Goals. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. I like Linda, and I think Linda did a good job. Linda was one of our directors way back on the HBO Chris Rock show, and just really sweet lady, and has had a great career. And even for her, if you're a director and there are all these challenges about making movies and getting stuff done and getting things executed, she's
Hmm.
got a couple of features under her belt, and it's a great opportunity. You get to work with Meth, you get to work with Kelly, you get to work with Dennis Haysbert, you get Devon Franklin, and she might have a fucking some little Latino project or some shit that she wants to do that speaks to something that Devon understands, and it may
Hmm.
be family friendly and not explicitly faith based, and so now you have now you have a business connection that you didn't necessarily have before. So
There
I'm
you
just
go.
like, we should quit looking as creators, as artists, writers, directors, actors. You can't view the work singularly through the lens of what you want for yourself as an artist. You have to look through the lens of what are the expectations and the business proposition of what you're trying to sell and who you're trying to sell it to and why they do or do not want it and why they might or might not want it from you.
Yeah. Words of wisdom. So this week, I well, Bridgerton is back. Have you?
Bridgerton.
Did you ever watch Bridgerton at all? You don't. It doesn't seem like you're the audience. Like it doesn't seem like
I,
it's.
listen, I keep telling you, all I know about Bridgerton is that it's in the past, and Roger Jean Page is on there, and maybe he's not anymore. But as far as I'm concerned, he's the star of Bridgerton. I'm happy for him, and I don't know, and I know Shonda Rhimes and his
Well, there you go.
costumes.
We got the name correct. I mean, I'm a big on period pieces. Like I said, I watch lots of different things, and I get a lot of pleasure from watching period pieces. I watch several, whether it's the Gilded Age or all the things. But the thing about Bridgerton, it kind of gives me the pleasure of watching that show without feeling like I'm not allowed to exist in that world. When I look at
Yeah,
a lot of whether it's The Crown or stuff from that time, a lot of times I feel like I, as a black person, don't exist in that world whatsoever. And I understand historically, maybe we was someplace where they wasn't. We wasn't, doing what they was doing at balls and whatever. But I enjoy that world, and I want to feel like there's a place for me in it. And it's almost like the escapism of it. And I think that that's why that Bridgerton works so well and it was so popular. Now, people are saying that this is we're season 4 of Bridgerton, and they're saying that this is their least favorite. I enjoy it. I understand why people may be saying that. I don't
why
know
are
if
they
it's
saying
like
that?
the thing is, I feel like how it is, it's not necessarily an anthology, but every season you take another kid from this Bridgerton family, and the whole season is about getting them married off and all the things
Is
that come from
is
it.
Bridgerton a place or a family? What is Bridgerton?
It's a family,
Bridgerton
right? So it's based
is a
off
bunch
of
of
a
people.
book. It's a family, and they got a
Okay.
bunch of kids, and every episode, every season is a new season in this world where they're like the season is the cultural season where it's like, oh, we bring our daughters out and we want to get them married off, and there's all sorts of stuff that goes into it, and it's sexy and it's interesting, but I find it like
So it's like Bel
it
Air, but white people in the past.
how is it like Bel Air?
It's a family. I mean, the family's not
Oh well,
named Bel
yeah, it's a
Air.
family. Yeah, it's a family dynamic, and they all have and everyone in the family has their stuff going on. Yes, and it's very diverse because it's like the roles of race don't exist in this family. Obviously, all the kids in the family are Caucasian, but most of the people that they end up with or are romantically involved with, are all different. Black and
Hmm.
Asian and whatever. And so it just feels like this big diverse world. And you have
Well,
this
what
black
was
queen that we
if
all love.
everybody is white, then what was Roger Jean Page doing there? What was
He was
he? What was
married
his
into
role?
the family. He
Oh,
was
did
a
he
duke.
leave? Did he get
No, I
tired of
just
him?
no. I don't know if he chose. I don't know if it's a Shonda decision or his
Is
decision.
Roger Jean Page the Chris Humphreys of
I feel
Bridgerton?
like it was his decision. I feel like the first season he decides that I don't want to stay with this
I just
this
hold
show.
on. You just have to stop for a second. I feel like that was wasted on you.
You wanted me to laugh at the joke.
I said, is Roger Jean Page the Chris Humphreys of Bridgerton? And you just like I didn't even say anything.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I'm sorry. I know who Chris Humphries is, but
Do
is he?
you?
How did this the basketball player that didn't he marry Kim Kardashian? Is that the same one?
That's the one.
Or am I
And then
mixing
he
up my
got out
words?
of there.
Oh no. They just like not that they write him out. It's just he's not the only character. It's like they start with a base character and then next season they move on and they focus on the next kid. So that character exists in the world, but they're not there. And a lot of people
Oh, so
fell
he's
in
not there.
love
Okay.
with him. They fell in
Uh-huh.
love with that and they're like, I want to see him again. And so they get frustrated. And I think we're season 4 and he's not coming back. And so like I think that's a lot of frustration. It's kind of based off this whole Cinderella story now. And I think the people are like, we've seen this story already. I still find joy in it. I understand why some people don't because it's not about it being hard hitting or great writing or whatever for me. It's escapism. And so it still gives me that. It still gives me this idea and joy of being in this little Bridgerton world and experiencing and seeing the
Well,
ambiance and all that stuff and whatever.
what I'm gonna say, people have the studios and the networks or whatever. They have their agendas about whoever it is that they want to sell to and who they think the audience is and why they think the audience responds. However, when you get a great black character in your shit, a lot of times it's the most popular one or it drives because we're fucking cool and we do interesting and cool shit.
Yeah. But
And then we're in and
the most popular is the queen though. The queen is the most popular. She's black. She's in every season. That's the draw. He was a draw. He was
listen,
yeah. But
that's all I'm just saying. It's like
yeah.
I hate it. What I don't like is when we get kicked to death. You know,
Okay.
voice a reason for a white person with a problem, and you got to walk around trying to help them. Deal with their shit. So hate that role. But when you give the black person some agency and some space to be who they are and be how they
Mm-hmm.
are and be powerful and interesting and disruptive and all of those things, it tends to be exciting. So I just think that when people are writing and doing this stuff, Shonda know what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
knows what she's doing. Yeah, that's not an accident that she's really great at that. She breathes, lives and breathes that shit.
Hit show
Right?
after hit
So
show after hit show. She don't miss.
yeah, I'm just saying. So the her understanding of the world and the relationship of characters with the audience and why people. I think that to the extent that I know this at all, I think that Shonda Rhimes is a fan of the sort of things that she creates.
Mm.
Right. I mean, some of us do create from a craft position, right? Sometimes we're in a business and we're trying to do something because it is a good piece of business. I'm going to name check myself. Are We There Yet? Was a television show I did. It was based on the film Are We There Yet? Ice
Mm-hmm.
Cube. And we took that show and utilized the Tyler Perry model of the 10 episode pilot triggering a 90 episode series order. Uh, and why did we do that? Joe Roth, who was the producer of the film Are We There Yet? And some other materials, anger management, and some stuff, I'll bring that up in a second, is trying to find a way to exploit these materials. And Tyler Perry presents this incredibly novel way of doing things. Y'all trying to get to 100 episodes, that's what you want to get to. Why are y'all going one season at a time trying to make this shit? If you like it, just fucking make them. And that's what Tyler Perry introduced into the ecosystem. I'm gonna show you 10, and if 10 is good enough, then let's just go do them. They're all gonna be something like this,
Mm.
right? And so he introduced a brilliant business model. Joe Roth tapped into it. We do Are We There Yet? I like the show. I think it was fun. We did it on an accelerated model. We were shooting we did 6 episodes every 2 weeks in terms of the way that I broke it up. But
Mm.
ostensibly, it ended up being 3 episodes a week of this that we would shoot. And I think we
Right.
had some funny stuff. I think that it was, we enjoyed a lot of it. It's on a fast channel right now. The Debmar Mercury, the distributors, syndicators, they work in big volume content. So in order for them to sign on, they're like, oh, if we can get 100 of these, then we can put this into an ecosystem where we're monetizing this sort of material. And now it's 10 years past, Are We There Yet? And that shit's still running on a fast channel, collecting ad revenues because we had 100 of them.
Still getting checks.
What was it, the best sitcom? Arguably no. I can say that as the person that was behind a lot of the creation there. I thought it was funny in a lot of instances. I thought we had a lot of cool things. We didn't have all the resources we might have liked to have had. We did get great cameos. We got some great and some fun casting. But the mission is to do 100 of these inside this contained period. And if we can do it at this number, if this period of time, what this becomes as an asset is an annuity that we drop onto the internet and onto these various platforms. And then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes, a cash cow for years to come. And I spent, a year and a half doing it, as opposed to 6 years for another sitcom that will end up on the same fast channel with 100 episodes, drawing in, whatever it draws in. And it's not necessarily going to be more popular than Are We There Yet? Or House of Pain, or to Meet the
Mm-hmm.
Browns. We got 100 of them. Y'all ain't even see them all.
So back to your
So I'm
point,
just
you said that you feel like she likes her content that she creates, and that aids in.
yes, I think that the reason that she's able to do that in the way that she does it
Mm-hmm.
is because she actually enjoys it.
She
And
enjoys
so
it.
she's writing and infusing, all of her creativity into it. But I think it's coming from a place of love that this is stuff that she genuinely gets excited
No,
about.
I agree. I feel like of every creator or TV executive producer that I can think of, she is one of my favorites just because it's very rare. I might really love one project that they do and maybe not have as many opinions on the other. She is the only one that it doesn't matter what she has put out. I have loved every single show. Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, Bridgerton, Queen Charlotte. Every
What
single
about the
one
White
I
Lady
have.
show?
The White Lady Show. Which was on the
Yeah,
White Lady
Shonda's
Show?
White Lady show. That was after she did the hospital show. She had a second one with a white lady.
You're
Practice
not talking about
something.
Scandal.
Was it
You're
Private
talking.
Practice? Was that the name of it?
I thought great. It was Grey's
Private
Anatomy, and then we
Practice.
went to Scandal.
Uh-uh.
Private
No.
Practice.
There was
Maybe
a
that's
there was a
maybe
white
that's
lady
the
show.
one show that they is that still running? Because I'm like, maybe that's the one show I
No. It only
like.
had 2 or 3 seasons. Private Practice,
Private
yes,
Practice.
starring Kate Walsh,
Okay, so every single one except that one.
because it starred a
But
white lady.
no, I actually feel like I didn't hear much about that one. I mean, I heard it, but
I
I don't feel
think
like it got
there's
that
a possibility
same.
that you could be a racist. Maybe you just don't. What you got
I
against white people?
mean, I don't have anything against white. No, so you starting rumors. I don't have anything against white people. I just live in a very, very black world.
So it's Kate
I
Walsh you don't like. Not all of the white
no,
people, just
I
her.
just I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. That's all.
It was on the
But
whole network. It was out there. Everybody could see it.
listen, there's a lot. There's a lot that Shonda Rhimes has done that
So it's
I've
just a
loved.
whole 3 years you just went black.
I
You
just
couldn't.
I was busy. I don't know. There's a lot going on in 2017 or whenever that came out. But no, I think that she's
No,
great. I mean, I would
no,
love
no
to
shade
work
to
with
Kate.
her.
Kate Walsh,
No, yeah,
fun
no
shows,
shade.
great actress, and and Shonda Fair's she does a little better with black people.
2007 to 2013. First of all, 2007, I don't even know if I was like, you know, what was I doing in
Who were you, like
2007? I was
6 or 7 in 2000? You were young.
six. Six. I don't know if I was 6 in
Did you like
2007.
McSteamy or McDreamy?
Oh, McDreamy.
McDreamy.
Yeah.
Okay, so your car just flipped over. It's burning. You're trapped inside like that girl in
Why do
Crash,
you
like
always
Tandy
do
Newton.
this?
Yeah, you're in your car. Your car's on fire. You flipped upside down like Tandy Newton in Crash, and at the window, if one of two people have come to help. One is you said McDreamy or McSteamy.
Yeah, McDreamy. That's the main one. Yeah, McDreamy.
Okay, so
He has
McDreamy.
nice
McDreamy
eyes.
comes and he's
Dr.
like, "Oh my
Derek
God,
Shepherd.
Elisa, the car flipped upside down. It's on fire. We got to get you out of there." And then Roger Jean Page shows up, and he has no medical skills or anything. He's just like, "Hey, what's
Oh,
going on?"
Roger Jean Page, hands down.
And you're like, "Yeah, help! Somebody get me out of here!" And McDreamy's like, "I got it." And then you're like, "No, no, no, let him try." Would
I
you
don't know if that's in my
would you
best
risk
interest.
death just to be saved
I'm
by
not
Roger
risking
Jean
death for
Page?
nobody. I'm not risking death for no man ever. I don't care how cute he may be. Okay. But are there any
Well,
marching orders you
let's
have?
just say you weren't gonna get out. Let's just say it was a done deal. You know, it was like that
I
episode
was
of
gonna
Law and
die
Order or
anyway.
something, and it's like when you're trapped in the car, they can't get you out. If they move you, you're gonna bleed out.
Oh,
So Roger
so
Jean Page, you just want him to sit there
morbid.
and talk to you for your last
And
final
just
moments.
my last, yeah, I mean, I guess that would be that would be just
Now,
so
if he's
sad.
there, and so now he's talking to you, and then Michael B. Jordan comes and go, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he'd be like, "Ladies trapped in the car," and then Michael B. Jordan pokes his head in there. Would
It
you be
would be
like,
Michael B. Jordan. That's
thanks,
easy.
thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Jay. Bye. Hi,
Thanks,
Mega.
Roger. You were a lot of help, man. Really appreciate it. I'm a ride it out
can,
with Michael
can we
B.
make these scenarios not so morbid? I don't like that I'm dying in these scenarios.
I like people to have to really make a grounded choice. I want the
Okay, I
truth.
got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
so yeah, but I don't want to
So
see anything bad happen to you.
well, hopefully not. Well, moving on to our marching orders because surviving in Hollywood does require a strategy.
Oh,
Are
geez, let me
there
see.
any marching orders that you have for the Black Creative this week to close us out?
I had a little something. Let me see. I got to scroll down through my page here and see what I wrote down. Um, okay. So yeah, this is what I wrote down. So if you are in the journalism space, you're an up and coming journalist, you want to be in that world, you got to treat yourself like a newsroom and like a brand like at the
Mm,
same time. So you got to document everything, right? And you got to have your credentials, you got to know what your process is. You know, you have to understand what the context is that you're going into so you can prove that you're an observer and a journalist and not a participant in protest or whatever sorts of civil disobedient actions might be taking place, and then you use whatever coverage that you create to align yourself and interact with other professionals so that even if you don't necessarily know someone directly or immediately you haven't shared space with them, the circles and the spaces that you move through are spaces of credentialed, respected, and known professionals. And even if they don't know
mm,
you, they can speak to the validity of what you're saying. And if you are a person that's just mad at the way people are being treated, then as much as you can, just do your personal research, get an understanding what the laws and protocols are around engagement with the law, right? I'm not saying it's going to work out for you, but at least you can know when trouble is on the way and know when it's best for me to step back right now. I saw a dude on his porch the other day. It was a video, and he was filming a guy getting arrested. And these motherfuckers ran up on his porch. And he's like, "You can't run up on my porch." They ran up on his porch and they fucking grabbed him. If he'd gone in the house, they would not have been able to do that. And it doesn't feel good to feel like you're giving up something of yourself in those moments. But
yes.
sometimes I'm gonna take the L for the next 30 seconds. I'm gonna keep filming through the door. But I'm more powerful with my camera in the house filming through the window than I am out there with them and whatever could happen to me. Because, you know, 90 seconds can be the difference between you filming and you being on the news. And we don't want that for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, now in these, so this is kind of like these niche sort of based IP forward. Mike Todd's got a book. You gotta work with these producers as clients, right? And so when you go into these spaces, you have to understand what they're trying to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
and then how to best make what it is that you're trying to accomplish align with what they're doing. And so, again, for Kelly Rowland, she doesn't necessarily have a faith based brand, but having access to that audience, that's not all they watch. They like her, so they see that it's like we liked her a lot. Well, then when she's in her next movie in this romantic comedy, all of that audience may come over because she wasn't shaking her ass, she wasn't nasty, she wasn't doing all. I mean, it's just a bunch of things that they value as an audience. So whether you're Method Man and you're making yourself available to that audience, whether you're Linda Mendoza and you're bringing your craft to the table to execute this idea well, I had a brief conversation with Devon Franklin about a really epic film that he was trying to do. And I mean, we didn't get that far in the conversation. It's just my own schedule, blah 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 blah. But the
Right.
point is that they're trying to do things on a scale, and they're trying to do things with impact. And so this may be the door that you walk through, but understand what the business proposition is of what you're doing. Bring your best self to the table. And then when people have whatever the complaints and criticisms, they were going to have that anyway. Lupita Nyong'o is playing Helen of Troy, and white people are mad, just like they were
Oh,
mad when
are
which
they?
which one of the sisters was the mermaid?
Uh, uh, not Oh my gosh, not Chloe,
Is
Holly, Holly
Hallie?
Berry,
Hey, is it Haley or is Hallie?
Holly.
Right. So Halle as the mermaid and Lupita Nyong'o as Helena Troy is the exact same thing. There's a group of people who are fucking up in arms about a black person portraying a fictional
A
character,
fictional character.
right? But in the world of these types of works, you just want to create a portfolio for yourself that demonstrates that you have another move to the bucket. So it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I did the faith based, but what you're looking at is how well I shot it. How good was the acting? What would the composition? If I turn the sound down, what does it look like? If I don't know anything they're saying, if I turn the sound down and I just look at it, what does that look like? That is going to be my footprint as the director. And if you're the writer, then it may be clever and it may be witty. They had a couple of sharp little lines in there. It was fun,
Mm,
and they mad about the product placement. But you on a fucking Mike Todd movie, what do you expect them to do?
I gotta watch this movie. I just gotta see them carrying this book. That's so funny.
So again, just like those people who are not in the film business turn to film professionals to
Mhm.
exploit the products and the IP that they have to a much larger audience. The people who are in the film business can use people who have marketable IP to extend their brands and use their skills to platform what they know how to do, and we can service each other. We don't have to be in conflict. All things being equal, we do want a better film as opposed to a worse film, but getting a film at all, people be like, we shouldn't be happy just because we got something made. Well, that's not what it is. You just don't know why it got made.
That part. Well, listen, Ali, this has been a pleasure. As always, a great conversation. And we want to make sure that you guys are liking, following, and subscribing and shooting in the
Liking, following,
comments.
subscribing.
Yeah. Write in the comments what you want us to talk about because I know there's industry questions that you may have. And, we want to answer them to the best of our
We
ability.
do.
So, make
I'm
sure you
I'm
do
not
that.
I'm not gonna read your script.
He's not going to read your script.
I'm not gonna read.
But
And
yes.
listen, if you've gotten this far, one of my friends who we'll talk to at some point, he looked at one of our episodes and he gave me some tips, and he said
Oh,
that we
what
should.
was his
Yeah, he
tips?
gave me some tips. He was like, we should at the top of the thing we should tell them to like and subscribe and all that. But I almost feel like if you got this far, I feel like it's okay to ask you to go to the next step. You watch the whole fucking thing. Just go ahead and
You
subscribe to
might
it.
as well. You
You
might
might,
as
you
well.
might as well. You're here now, right?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
appreciate that, and I want you to and get in the comments and check us out on our the other stuff, and
TikTok
and we'll be
and
we'll be
on
trying to do what
Instagram.
you know Right now, we're probably going to be trying to get an episode a weekend. We're trying to get our flow, figure out what
We
that is. We
are.
got
We are.
yeah, we got a bunch of short form content out there, and we're going to be doing some other things. We're going to be doing some interviews and just kind of bringing more to the table. So we hope you guys rock with us, and thank you for your attention thus
Yes.
far.
Thank you for
And
being in the
be
room,
safe
and
out
we
there.
be safe out there. We'll save you a seat for next time.
Yep.